Hello everyone, how are you? My name is Alex and I'm a multidisciplinary artist based in Montreal from Venezuela. Before I begin this video, I'm not gonna lie to you, this is like the 10th time I'm hitting record. And I usually just do it once and go, and doesn't matter if I make mistakes or anything, I just keep going and I don't edit them. In this case, I didn't stop because I made mistakes, it's just I'm not feeling it so much. And it just dawned on me that the context or just the content that I want to share with you today might be a little bit, it's going to be very helpful if you are feeling at any place a little low emotionally or just a little low physically. And it's really made, to help you. And I'm feeling a little bit like not as energetic as I usually do. I'm not gonna lie, just maybe feeling a little bit more gloomy than I usually do. Well, I actually don't generally feel gloomy, but I think it's interesting, and I'm gonna go with the flow because I feel that embodying this gloominess or maybe a little bit more heaviness is going to tune me into how maybe your energy is right now, and so adapt my message to that same energy. So bear with me. Thank you for coming through this different weird introduction, but I just have to be honest, and let's see how it goes. So I'm making this video today to share with you project that I still have, actually one of my favorite projects that I have a lot of fun doing still today. I created this project 7 years ago, and it's a DJ set called Ghost Town. Just for context, we are at the end of October in a gloomy time of the year, but at a very special time in general, or in a few places celebrating Halloween, which to me is one of my favorite seasons of the year because it connects me to the sensation of magic, the sensation of fantasy, the sensation of folklore, storytelling, gathering together and sharing stories, scary stories as well, shadow aspects, mysteries. It's something that has always interested me as a child, as a teenager, and now as an adult. And it's themes that I still very much like working with. In some sense, it connects me to this infinite potential feeling. And I thought that at this point, or during this time, yes, I wanted to share this project that really helped me when I created it, transform pain and liberate myself from pain and transform it, or help me get back into a state of playfulness, of joy, of fun, which I think is very important and just a very good tool to have. So I'm just really making this to help you in whatever way resonates with you. So let's dig in, let's dive in. This DJ set that I created 7 years ago is called Ghost Town. It turned out to be a series, not what I usually intended to. I just created first one, and I had so much fun. I was like, I have to do this again the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and it transformed into, definitely a project I'm not gonna let go of because it's so fun, and there's so many ways of interpreting it every year. I want to give you a little bit of context of what I was going through 7 years ago and what made me want to create this in the first place. I was going through a pretty painful heartbreak, like a romantic heartbreak, that really culminated a series of romantic heartbreaks, like a series of relationships, one after the other. I mean, with short amounts of time and all pretty intense, and draining. And this last one was just kind of like the last straw. And it just left me incredibly depleted emotionally. Just kind of like triggered going into quite a long period of darkness in my life. And when I was navigating this, of course, there are many tools that are available. Like what I'm sharing with you today is only part of a lot of different things I did to get myself out of, this state. But I do have to say that there was like a magical effect of creating, and using art as a transformational tool. So in going through these emotions, the first thing that I do, or that I try to sit with, and this is why it's so hard for me to identify with only one medium as an artist. I just say multidisciplinary artist because to me, the only constant is having an idea and taking it and sitting with it and asking myself, what is the best way of expressing this idea? Or what is the way that I want to express this idea right now? And I want to talk a little bit about like two different ways of creating. There's infinite ways of creating, but two different ones that I use constantly are, if you think of creating art and just being a creator, you might think of someone painting, writing a story, creating a song. But there's also another practice that I do a lot, which is curating, which means like selecting. It's almost like collages. It's selecting pre-existing pieces pre-existing pieces and putting them together within a specific theme to express one idea, which is, again, very creative, but a very different way of creating. And when I sit myself with the specific emotions, I ask myself, how do I want to express this? I find that sometimes naturally it just, comes like, I just want to create something on my own or something right away, or that just feels very individual. And sometimes the pain is so big, or the message is so big, or I feel like that my own vocabulary as an artist is not enough, or would be highly complemented if instead of using only my voice, it would be even more clear communicated in a group setting, or using or collecting different creations within a specific context or within a specific theme to express that emotion or to express that idea. Within this specific context that I was feeling, I usually don't create music that sounds like what I was feeling at that time, which was just a lot of melancholy, heaviness, tiredness, kind of like just, I don't even, like life is gray, like the colors have like dimmed down. And I didn't really have any creations like that. And it's just usually not something so much that like comes out of me to express this, but there's definitely art around me that already exists that does express exactly this emotion. So I thought to myself, let me unite all these voices, these sounds, all this music that already exists together, and create a certain story that really is telling the story of what I'm feeling right now, so that I can express it and let it out. Because that's the other point I want to say, and I also mentioned it, I think, in another video that I created about anger and letting anger out in a positive way. And it's that emotions are there to show us something, but they're also there to be expressed, to let them out. And sometimes, and trust me, I know this, and I want to make other videos like this because I have many examples of how art in different ways have helped me transform certain heavy emotions. But in this case, I lost a little bit of the train of thought of what I was saying. Letting out, right, emotions are meant to be expressed. So I just really wanted to express what my voice or my own like limitations of my body and mind and aesthetics couldn't express through things that have already, been created and in a specific order to create a specific story, right? And just to let them out, and that's it. And what I mean by that's it is that usually when I do these processes, not necessarily that I'm like, okay, perfect after this, but like that specific fragment of like sensation I was feeling or emotion I was feeling is out and doesn't come back, which is great. Just like so liberating. And I hope you understand what I'm saying, because I feel sometimes when you're going through all of, such a heavy transformation or like grief and pain, like it's not just like one big emotion that you have, like it's a whole ball of different things that are going through your head, and you kind of have to sometimes like tend to different aspects of these. So that's what I wanted to say about the emotions. And I think I was maybe luckily supported by the social and cultural context that was surrounding me around the time that I was like, I need to let this out. And it's not, helping me to just talk about this. It's like crying is not letting this specific aspect out. Like, how can I let it out? And it was around Halloween time as well, October and November. So I want to go back a little bit into Halloween and this special time of the year, because it's a time where I feel in our society and our culture, and what I mean by our society and culture, like I live in Canada, so just in this side at least of the planet, it's a moment where I feel like we have a higher tolerance for the ugly, for the mystery, for the unknown, for the scary parts, for the darkness, for the shadow, like, and we almost make it for the unexplainable, and we make it also kind of like exciting. Just think of Harry Potter, like it has been such a huge phenomenon, like all over the world. Like there is a fascination around mystery, around darkness, around, you don't have light without darkness. And it's just a moment where like there's a higher tolerance to speak of these things. And because as an artist, as I mentioned, usually like my creations are much more like lighter, and it's really not to like judge any type of creation. It's just like the place where I generally like usually, it's just what I feel my essence is. It's like playfulness and joy. I usually create from these places, because also if I'm not connected to joy and like playfulness and being at a balanced place, like I don't have energy to create, or I have a lot less energy to create. So it's kind of like my fuel. So all this to say is that in the context of a society or a culture that at this specific point in time is more receptive to these kinds of elements, I felt like more free to like show an ugly side of me, show like like just a side of me that I hadn't really done in the past, that we all have, but also within a specific context that is almost like protected also by like a fascination and an interest and also a playfulness. It's like, ooh, like people like gloomy things right now because it's Halloween, like people like scary things. Like that fascination is like kind of blooming during that time. So I kind of like want to take advantage of that, because I identify through the playfulness, but then I also allow myself to go full out and like explore that darkness and that ugliness. So that was the first, time that I did this. And this first mixtape that was called Ghost Town, A Soul's Lament, was very melancholic, was almost like, I imagine like a ghost crying, or like a ghost lamenting itself and like thinking of its past and like kind of floating around, and which almost again like feels like these like feelings of like dread or sadness or heavy sadness, right? Or grief. And it turned out to be super theatrical, which again is like, wow, this is so cool. Like this pain actually helped me tell a story that within this context is I was able to, like link both worlds, I guess. I hope everything I'm saying makes sense. It's a little complicated or complex, but let me know if you're understanding or enjoying this. What I want to also add is that for this specific loop, like it really felt that when I finished it, as I mentioned, like I finished it, I published it, this aspect of my emotions, boom, was out. It's like it was out of my system. So it was extremely cathartic. And I do want to mention as well the difference between sometimes some types of creations that I make. I feel a lot of questions like that creators or artists like get asked, or at least I've seen people ask artists and creators like, do you like listen to your own music, or do you look at your own art? And for me, maybe DJ sets are a little bit different because like they're not my musical creations, so it's music that I would still generally listen to. But to me, like any creation really, like some of them I listen to nourish me or to like give me a certain energy. And others, like this one, are like a portal of time. So whenever I listen to this specific mixtape, it's like it brings me back to what I was feeling at that time, but also to that hope and to that strength that I was able to, through this mixtape, to transform that pain into a story and liberate myself from that fragment of pain. So yeah, that's an interesting like observation I wanted to share with you. And I also want to let you know that as of this first time, or this first series, the year after, I was still going through a dark time, but it was different. Like there's a whole evolution. As I mentioned, like when you're going through something deep, or heavy, it has so many layers. And so the layer that I found myself around that time, the year after, I was like, I'm definitely doing another one. And this time it's going to be called Ghost Town 2, Dark Matter. Because what I was feeling there were maybe a bit more like solidified. Like the first one was more like floaty and melancholic and sad. This other one was like, oh, like all these feelings were like percolated, and they were like extremely solid and heavy and grungy and metallic, and but also like fat, like fat beats, and it's still music that I listen to and it's like like it excites me, but it's again telling a story of what I usually, and it's also cool because it's like experimental DJ mixes that where I select music that I usually can't or don't play, or it's just not accepted to like play, and or maybe people don't vibe with it in like a party setting. Like it's not really necessarily music to like really dance to it, like or move to. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should start doing something experimental DJ sets to dance to. But all this to say that it's like, just this like moment where I can allow myself, or where I give myself permission to be crazy, to look at the craziest like beats and music that I would not put in a normal setting, and just go full in within that theme. So that year was dark matter. After that, I did a playlist instead of a DJ set, in this like more sounds of magic and like fantasies and glittery things. That's on Spotify. And then 2 years ago, I did my last mix. Hopefully this year I also do one. But the last one I did is called brujas, which means witches in Spanish. And that one features female vocals and female producers in a more folkloric, traditional, kind of like pagan vibes that to me remind me of like witches, but also glitches, like electronic glitches. So electronic craziness happening there, and that too, it's all music that, you know, I really enjoy as a listener or even as a mover. But I tell a story with that. And another observation, it doesn't mean at all that this is going to be a rule, but it's that after you let that initial gunk out, like at least in these DJ sets, like it's gotten much and much clearer, like much and much a little lighter in terms of like feeling and heaviness. Just an observation. Maybe the one I know that the one I want to do this year is definitely, you know, not necessarily like in the heavy vibes, but definitely in the Halloween vibes still. But it's just an interesting observation. You know, it's like after you let that initial out, like you're clearing the way. And again, not to say that one's better than the other. It's just a question of like keeping your emotions in flow and being connected to like that essence and that place where you want to create from, you know? To me, it's clear where I want to create from. And again, it's not a right or wrong. But in order to access like that joy and that kind of life force, emotions like these and like heavy emotions kind of like they make like a gray, they block a little bit that passage, so it has to come out in order to access that other part again. So that's what I wanted to tell you about the series. I'm gonna put a link underneath on like to my SoundCloud so you can hear the mixes if you want. I'm also gonna see if it works to upload them on YouTube. And yeah, I think I want to wrap this up by saying to like just sharing with you and inspiring you, or like encouraging you, that's the word, encouraging you to use this magic that is present in this time of the year to look like, let your shadow and your monster run free. Like let the beast within you run free. Look at it, play with it, let it out, be ugly, like get all the crap out, you know? Let it play and see what comes out of that. And it's just a great, almost like supportive moment for you to do that as well, because there's so many examples of creations that are out there that play with this darkness and this fear and this scariness, but within like the context of playfulness and fun. Like it can be an adventure, you know? Again, think of Harry Potter, think of so like all the scary movies, of The Shining, of anything, you know, of The Goonies. Like think of all these creations that just make it exciting to explore the unknown, and you feel supported in it. Because I feel at other times, other points in during the year, these feelings, or like this, the fear of scariness just seems like daunting or overwhelming. Like within this, it's like a fun context. So I would encourage you to look there and see like what you find under the bed, you know? I think that's it. I really hope this helped you and then in some way, or inspired you, or you can, make a mental note, and if ever you need it, it's going to be here, and come back to it. It really comes from the heart, and it's kind of fun how now I feel excited again. So full circle, was not feeling super great at the beginning of this video, and now I'm feeling pumped again. And that's what I want to transmit to you. So just know, if you are watching this and you are going through a rough time, man, I just have to say, I almost cried there. Like, I know, okay? I know I have been through so many things. And it's been so difficult at times, but I'm here, like, I'm a living proof to say that you have the capacity to get through this, and there's so many tools available. I really encourage you just to listen to yourself and what you need. And if you are a more artistic, I wouldn't say creative, because everyone is creative, but like, if you are like, just have a more, tendency to express yourself through art, trust me, it is an amazing tool to help you overcome and get through very difficult moments. You can transform them, and you can liberate yourself from pain with art. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day. Keep going strong. You can do this. Bye-bye.